Hello guys, Nigel here again from Nigel's Modelling Bench, and I've got another product review for you this morning. This is going to be a fairly quick one because it's all very small. If you remember, I did a review a little while back on the spark plugs and spark plug wires and oil pipe fittings and everything from Anyz, Anyz.io. I see he's also got a new address near Anyz.de. So if you haven't seen that review, go take a look. Anyz is basically a one-man band. His name's Tom, and he produces resin parts and decals and supplies a lot of other odds and ends, wires and cables and tiny cotton buds and stuff for the modelling world. Now, he's kind of very unique in what he does. I don't know of anybody else that does the same sort of thing. Well, certainly, you know, the resin parts. But what he does these generic decals, and this time he's come out with a new sheet, and it's called Universal Placards and Symbols, and it's scale independent. You're basically going to use the right size decal for the application, and you can see this is basically what you're getting on the sheet. And you've got your sort of, you know, yellow hatch hazard lines here, you've got your white and black hazard lines, you've got grey boxes with dots in them, grey boxes with crosses in them, just grey boxes, and then you've got your circular, your oblong and square, you know, hazard warning. You know, you frame around something that's got a hazard to it, and then you've got red placards, which are sort of pretty generic, just block writing, and then we've got the radial arrows here showing, you know, when you turn things on and off. So and basically, what he's telling you is it's high quality decals for aftermarket use, and you use them in your airplane cockpits or military armour kits as you see fit. I'll show you the sheet in a second. Prepare the surface with a glossy finish, use some setter, and then let the decals dry for at least 24 hours before putting a clear coat over them, just to seal them in. Basically pretty standard stuff. So if I show you the decal sheet, it'll sort of blow your mind really. Let me get a rule just to give you some idea of size. Where have all my rules gone? Here's one here. We can see this sheet is actually 105 by about 72 millimeters. Here we go, we can see just how tiny all this stuff is. If I grab the rule again, we can see that this row on the left is actually only, what, 19 millimeters wide, and you can see this very, very tiny stuff there. So I'm struggling with the lighting a bit because of the glossiness, but and the fact I'm using an iPhone means I can't get too close on the focus, but you can see generally what the stuff is, and you can see here they're made by Cartographs, so there'll be no problems there. And then we've got on here the larger size, and we got down the bottom here we've got all the rotary arrows, so we've got red, white and black. So yeah, they're going to be really, really handy for adding a bit of detail to your cockpit with your placards and stuff and your warning symbols. The next one, this is another new product of his, 1/32 and 1/35 scale, but again I think this is sort of pretty generic, because you could get, like, you know, in your car you could have a knob which is this big, and you could also have a knob which is this big on the radio, say. So in scale, you know, if it's 48th scale, then the big knob in the center would be the smaller knob on a radio in say 16th scale. So, you know, I think again it's not 1/32, 1/35. I think it's sort of pretty scale generic really. So what you're getting here are 200 knobs. Now this is just crazy. I'll show you, this is the same sort of moulding or casting process as is used on the what's printing, isn't it? Sorry, printing process is used on the spark plugs and hydraulic fittings. But if I can get the camera to come in here, you can see what you've basically got are 200 knobs sitting on top of little stalks. Okay, you can see the sizes are sort of on the right here, they're the largest going down to the smallest. Now if I can just get my vernier and see if I can get a measurement on there for you. Let's have a look. These largest ones here are about 1.1, and the smallest ones down here are, I'm trying not to break them off, about 0.5. So you can see that in scale you've got, you know, a hell of a variation there, and they're all sorts of different shapes. Now the camera's not going to focus enough to see it, I don't think, but if you look on the front of the packaging, you can see we've got simple round buttons, we've got the buttons here with a back on them, you've got the ordinary simple flat bladed buttons, and I mean that to me just says that F16 side console. That's what it looks like to me. And thinking about where you would use these, for me they're a big advantage. I mean, a lot of kits these days have got some fantastic moulding on them, but they require a lot of special painting and work, which is where all the Anyz decals come in. Because if you go look at his website, he does all the instrument panel decals and everything, and all the sort of knobs, and you can see on the back of here he does all this sort of stuff. So yeah, really worth looking at. But if you decide to go down the Eduard route on your models, I've got one here. This is for a pave hawk. This is just absolutely typical of what Eduard do. And what you've got here, if you look, let me get a pointer. If you look on here, we have got areas here where there would be knobs, and you can see, if I just point out the larger areas, you can see there where those knobs would be. Here, like across here for instance, and putting those onto this would really make it pop, because photo etch and this pre-coloured stuff is awesome. There you go, you can really see the areas they go now. The pre-coloured photo etch is awesome, but the one downside to it is it's very two-dimensional. So it would be really good to have those on there, really make it stand out. So I think I might give these a go with something like that. I might even just build a cockpit just to try them out. But I think they're really impressive, and they are beautifully cast. Obviously done in a what do you call them? The resin the resin 3D printer. So yeah, really nice. Just try and get a shot there. You can see they're kind of moulded onto these stalks. Okay, so I mean, you could, for ease of use, you could actually measure the stalk, drill through the photo etch into your plastic, and then just plug them in and glue them from behind, and that would get you a really nice clean look. Then you could also have them stood up slightly if you wanted to. So that's the dials and knob set, which is pretty impressive. In there you're just getting a card. There's no instructions or anything. It's just sort of pretty much obvious what you're going to do with them. And so to give you an idea of price, the Universal Placards and Symbols, the decal sheet with all those decals on it, is £9.95. That's including VAT. Euros, that is €9.95. And the actual dials and knobs set is €14.95, including VAT. If you go onto his website and order over €50 worth of stuff, you get worldwide shipping free. And I think his worldwide shipping is only about €5, even if you don't spend that much. So well worth having a look. A lot of people call it Anyz. It's actually Anyz. It's the way it's spelt in. I can't remember where Tom's actually located now, but basically that's what it is. It's Anyz.io, but you can see down here we've also got now Anyz.de. So anyway, that's that for that review. Thanks for watching. I will be giving these a go on one of my builds, and we'll see what they look like. So I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.